It's been a long wait for Star Wars fans to enjoy their favourite galaxy back on the big screen, and if that sounds like you, you'll be pleased to know there's been a big Star Wars update. Now strap yourselves in because there's been a lot of false information flying around at the moment in regards to this next movie.
It's not true.
With it becoming harder and harder to work out exactly what news is real and what's fake.
It can't be.
However, today's update comes from some of the most reliable sources for Star Wars news out there. Now, I want to go through this article that came out very recently on Bespin Bulletin to kick things off. Now, it goes on to say, as we all know, the next Star Wars movie to be released in theaters on May the 22nd, 2026 is going to be the untitled Rise of Skywalker movie, which most people know it as the new Jedi Order movie, being directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Pre-SAG strikes, there were reports from reliable insiders as to when the film would begin shooting, but since then, news on when production will begin has remained quiet. However, a new report points to a start date in April once again. And I will say we have another update that follows on from this article from Star Wars Newsnet, which we'll get onto in a moment as well. According to production list, the untitled Rise of Skywalker movie led by Daisy Ridley is looking to begin shooting on Sunday the 7th of April 2024. The listing specifically mentions that the flick will begin shooting on that date and not just it marks the start of production. Bespin goes on to say that he's not overly familiar with production lists, but he's come across it multiple times over the past year or so when he's been looking to keep up with projects that he has an interest in that aren't Star Wars related, and he's found the listings on there to be hit or miss. And on top of that, it's very unusual for a Star Wars production to begin actually shooting on a Sunday. And the listing currently has down Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson listed as the writers of the movie. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never heard of production line myself, but an immediate red flag as to what we've read here is the fact that they've still got the two former writers on board for the project on their listing. Now, they were let go before Star Wars Celebration back in April, so they're probably pulling their information to update their list here from articles that came out maybe January, maybe February of this year, maybe even as far back as November, December last year. And the fact that they've got down April still, now that was a date that was mentioned a long time ago before Celebration when the old writers are on board, and of course before the strikes, which has put a massive delay on not just Star Wars but everything movie, TV show, you name it related. Now, we've had an update since then actually from Star Wars Newsnet. Now, there's been a lot going on in the last 24 hours. Now, Star Wars Newsnet has tweeted that the rumour that production on the Daisy Ridley-led Star Wars film is set to begin in April 2024 is incorrect. According to a source that they contacted, the script is reportedly not ready yet, and due to the delays caused by the strike, they don't expect it to begin filming before the summer. Now, there's a few things we can take away from here, that the script is reportedly not ready yet. Now, the writer, Stephen Knight, had up until Thanksgiving, that was his deadline, I believe, to get the script into Lucasfilm. And the fact that it's still not ready hints that he's missed that deadline, or the script's been handed in and Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, they aren't happy with it. And of course, with the strikes that went on, it's put delays on them being able to hire actors to fulfill these roles. You can't just have a movie with Daisy Ridley in it. There has to be other people in there as well. Now, if this is true, and I strongly believe it is, and even Bespin Bulletin in their article mentioned that they didn't believe April was a realistic time for them to start shooting this movie. And I don't think it's going to actually affect the release date for this movie all that much, if at all. The release date's May 2026. So even if they start filming, let's say at the end of summer, let's say August, for example, they're still going to give them 21 months to shoot and complete this movie, which is there or thereabouts what they would normally take for a Star Wars movie. But if, like me, you think that summer 2024 is a little bit too long to wait for Star Wars movie updates and news, especially when you're in the midst of winter like we are here in the UK, then I've got some good news. Now, a few days ago, Jeff Snyder, who is a very reliable source for Star Wars news himself, came out and said that he believes we're going to get a big movie update this month. Now, this is what he actually had to say. Now, this is actually part of another article that Bespin Bulletin posted a few days ago, and if you love keeping up with Star Wars news, then I highly recommend you check these guys out if you haven't already. Now, he goes on to say, and this is Jeff Snyder, I wouldn't be surprised if we got Star Wars news this month. Star Wars has always been a franchise that has, like, things don't always get announced. I remember years ago that there was this uproar that Star Wars hasn't hired a writer of colour. I came out after people told me privately and said they have writers of colour, but they don't want to respond to all the nonsense, essentially, all the nonsense that goes around online. Now, I do think that there are things things lying in wait, possibly casting news that were already done. I think that the Daisy Ridley movie has its leads already, and it's just a matter of a reporter finding out. Now, for Jeff Snyder to come out and say that he believes the casting for the Daisy Ridley, the Rey movie, the new Jedi Order movie, whatever you want to call it, is done, and that we might actually get an update later this month is exciting. But what I notice here, it goes on to say leads. Does that imply that Daisy Ridley isn't going to be the lead of this movie, or is she going to be one of the co-leads and you've got new leads coming in around her? But then that also makes you wonder, doesn't it? What happened to Poe? What happened to Finn? How are they going to be handled as not being part of this movie off screen? What's going to happen to them? Have they been killed off? Are they just off somewhere else in the galaxy doing another mission? Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye out, see what's going to happen. But I do definitely believe that if this is the case and there's new actors coming in to be co-leads alongside Daisy Ridley, then we could get a very different movie as to what we were expecting following on from episode 9. Guys, I'm really interested to know, how are you feeling about this movie? Are you checked in? Are you excited for it? Or are you not really that bothered? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll catch you in the next one. May the Force be with you.